He came to the hospital with his underlings to collect a debt. A girl walked out. An accidental glance into her eyes stirred an indescribable feeling in his heart. It turned out she was the debtor's daughter. After snapping back to reality, he told the lackeys behind him to watch and learn.
아저씨 일어나 보세요. 어르신 일어나 보세요.
The girl's look once again flustered the man, so he could only whisper to her, wanting to have a proper talk. Seeing that the girl ignored him, he threw the debt contract onto the girl's father. However, this girl was not someone to be trifled with. He didn't want to lose face in front of his underlings, so he decided to forcibly take the debtor away. The girl had no choice but to compromise, agreeing to write a contract taking over the debt repayment. The moment she pressed her fingerprint, the girl felt her heart turn to ashes, because the interest was outrageously high. Watching from the side, the man felt a bit unwilling, but there was nothing he could do after all. He was just responsible for debt collection. The next day, while walking on the street, he suddenly heard a familiar name from nearby. Han Tail followed the voice and saw that it was actually Ju Ho-young, the debtor's daughter he had met that day. If the first glance was a flutter, the second was a fall. He couldn't help but follow Ju Ho-young, discovering that her life was very difficult, facing not only huge hospital bills every day but also countless high-interest loans left by her father. Han Tail noticed a photo of her and her father in Ju Ho-young's car, so he could be sure she didn't have a boyfriend. Ju Ho-young worked at a bank. After her night shift ended, someone shouted from behind. It was Han Tail.
은행 마감 시간 5시 아니야? 왜 이렇게 늦게 나와? 시간 어때? 술 한잔 하게. 할 얘기도 좀 있고.
Ju Ho-young found it baffling. First, the deadline hadn't arrived. Second, she had no reason to drink with Han Tail. Having waited so long, Han Tail had already thought of how to handle Ju Ho-young's refusal. This place was close to her workplace, and if others saw them, it probably wouldn't look good. However, the man's behavior was very sloppy, and Ju Ho-young really didn't want to stay a minute longer. Actually, Han Tail only wanted to help Ju Ho-young, but this straightforward man didn't know how to speak, so it turned out like this.
너 콩팥 몇 개야? 2개지. 사람은 콩팥 하나만 있어도 사는 데는 아무리 문제가 없거든. 그게 왜 2개인 줄 알아? 이식하라고. 콩팥 없는 사람들 논아주라고 그러는 거야.
It was the first time Ju Ho-young had heard someone talk like that. She said she would definitely repay the money within the deadline, and sitting with Han Tail was just bad luck. After Ju Ho-young left, Han Tail was also confused, not knowing what he had said wrong. After thinking all night, he realized it was his way of speaking. He wanted to help Ju Ho-young pay the hospital fees, but never expected it to be so much.
돈 낼 게 뭐가 이렇게 많냐?
Ju Ho-young didn't know what this man wanted to do and warned Han Tail again not to disturb her life. The money would definitely be repaid. Han Tail said he just wanted to help Ju Ho-young but didn't know how to speak properly. Then, his mind went blank and he brought up that matter again.
콩팥 수술은 대학 병원 가서 하면.
왜 이러세요, 진짜? 그쪽 돈 필요 없다니까?
His intention was simply to tell Ju Ho-young he could cover the hospital fees for her, but he didn't know how to say it. Once again, he left Ju Ho-young speechless and angry as she walked away. Han Tail hurried to the company and found the contract Ju Ho-young had signed, hoping the boss would do him a favor and write off the debt as his mid-autumn festival bonus. The boss knew he had taken a liking to the girl and couldn't refuse. As long as Han Tail repaid the principal, he found Ju Ho-young again and asked what time she got off work, but it was working hours. Ju Ho-young had nothing to say to this ruffian and, left with no choice, decided to call the police. However, repaying debts is only right and proper. The police couldn't interfere, only advising Han Tail to be mindful of his approach. He couldn't understand why Ju Ho-young disliked him so much. It seemed he needed to come up with a plan. He went to the hospital again and took out the debt contract Ju Ho-young had signed last time, saying there was a way to make the contract invalid.
하루에 1시간씩 네가 나 만나줄 때마다 이 네모칸에 색깔을 칠할 거야. 이기가 다 칠해지면 네 거가 돼. 무슨 말인 줄 알겠어?
Ju Ho-young's first reaction was to refuse. Han Tail asked her to think it over carefully and left his contact information. Ju Ho-young thought about it for a long time and felt that it didn't seem like a bad deal. Besides, she truly couldn't afford to repay the debt, so she agreed to Han Tail's request. but only if they did nothing inappropriate.
그냥 얘기하는 정도?
신보고 놓친애야? 만나서 얘기하는 걸로 하루에 몇십만 원씩 까주는 게 말이 돼?
없던 일로 하죠.
The next day, Han Tail came to the hospital again. After thinking it over, he decided to compromise, but still wanted to try to ask for a little more.
걷고
걷고
가끔 밥이랑 술도 좀 먹고 그리고 남들 하는 것도 좀 하고.
Before he could even speak, Zhu Hoyoung's glare shut him down completely, seeing a grown man act so shy. Zhu Hoyoung had already guessed what he was thinking.
저기요, 나 좋아해요?
He didn't expect to be seen through. Han Tail panicked, made up an excuse about having something to do, and quickly left in embarrassment. The agreement took effect, and both of them pressed their fingerprints on it. Knowing that Zhu Hoyoung couldn't be disturbed while working, Han Tail asked a cleaning lady to deliver breakfast to her. Han Tail also started paying attention to his appearance, though his outfits were always uniquely styled. With Zhu Hoyoung around, everything he ate tasted delicious to him, but Zhu Hoyoung was different. She felt like sitting on pins and needles and truly couldn't bring herself to like this man. Until one day, when she arrived at the hospital and saw the scene, Han Tail was actually wiping her father's body with great patience, caring for him as carefully as if he were his own father. She began to change her opinion of Han Tail and, for the first time, picked up her chopsticks to have breakfast with him. Zhu Hoyoung no longer refused the steamed bun Han Tail picked up for her. To spend a little more time with Zhu Hoyoung, he deposited money one bill at a time. Watching Han Tail's silly persistence, Zhu Hoyoung couldn't help but smile secretly. Han Tail started gaining a bit more courage. While walking, he would intentionally inch closer and closer to Zhu Hoyoung, in front of someone he liked. Han Tail lost his usual fierce demeanor and acted completely like a child. More than half of the grid was already filled. Although Zhu Hoyoung didn't talk much to Han Tail, she no longer resisted this man. Sometimes, she even interacted with him. Unknowingly, their hearts were slowly growing closer. One day at the market, a young man was violently collecting a debt. Seeing this, Han Tail didn't say a word and swung a wooden plank down. However, Zhu Hoyoung witnessed the scene and thought he hadn't changed at all. All the goodwill she had gradually built up vanished in an instant. Zhu Hoyoung told Han Tail not to come see her anymore. She would find a way to repay the money she owed. After that, the two didn't meet again until the day Han Tail heard that Zhu Hoyoung's father had passed away. He hurried over to pay his respects, left some money, and used his connections to bring many people to visit. Among them was the fish vendor he had helped before. Listening to their conversation, Zhu Hoyoung realized she had misunderstood Han Tail. If it weren't for this man running around and handling things for her, Zhu Hoyoung truly didn't know what she would have done. After the funeral matters were settled, Han Tail took Zhu Hoyoung to a restaurant, wanting her to eat well and regain her strength. When Zhu Hoyoung was about to return to work, he even bought her a large pile of nutritional supplements. Faced with a man who gave so much quietly, Zhu Hoyoung was genuinely moved. She felt she could try being with Han Tail.
내가 불쌍해요?
불쌍하긴
그럼 내가 좋아요?
좋긴 뭘 좋아.
내가 어디가 좋아요?
The two confirmed their romantic relationship on the bank's rooftop. Zhu Hoyoung wanted a stable life and didn't want Han Tail to continue working as a debt collector anymore, as it was both dangerous and likely to make enemies. She thought it would be better to open a fried chicken shop. Once things were stable, they could have a child then. Han Tail was tempted. He told his boss he intended to leave this line of work for good. The boss didn't object, but told him to face reality. He had no savings now, and starting over would require a sum of money no matter what. To fund his plan, Han Tail lost his former patience and became more violent when collecting debts. But right at that moment, he suddenly collapsed to the ground, his body convulsing continuously. After an examination, the doctor gave him devastating news. There was a small tumor in his brain, and it was uncertain if it was malignant. Treatment would require a lot of money. It seemed his plan was completely ruined. Zhu Hoyoung gave Han Tail a bank passbook. She couldn't wait to marry Han Tail and have children. Tears welled up in Han Tail's eyes. He had actually found such a wonderful girl, but it was a shame he couldn't protect her for a lifetime. The next day, they went to a real estate agency, but the prices were completely beyond Ju Hoyoung's budget. They still had to look for a smaller shop. After Ju Hoyoung fell asleep that night, Han Tail lay on the sofa thinking it over and finally decided to gamble. He gave all his and Ju Hoyoung's savings to his boss, because the other man had said more than once that he had a way to double the money. The boss told Han Tail to relax. The casino was rigged, and they were guaranteed to win. Meanwhile, Ju Hoyoung had already found a suitable shop location, waiting only for Han Tail to bring the money. Right then, a group of robbers suddenly stormed into the casino and stole all the money. Han Tail desperately tackled one of the robbers, but when he pulled off the hood, he discovered it was actually the boss's subordinate. Only then did Han Tail realize this was a scheme set up by the boss all along. Now he had nothing left. The boss had already run off with the money, and his whereabouts were unknown. Ju Hoyoung's shop deal also fell through. He didn't know how to tell Ju Hoyoung, so he could only drink alone at the restaurant where he first asked Ju Hoyoung to meet. Unexpectedly, Ju Hoyoung found him there. Seeing Han Tail's bruised face, she didn't need to think twice. He must have gone back to debt collecting. When would her man ever grow up?
대체 왜 그래? 왜?
그만하라고 좀. 나 이거 원래 이런 새끼인지 몰랐어? 어? 나 원래 이거보다 더한 놈이야, 알아? 씨발 네가 뭐 착각했나 본데 내가 너랑 할 줄 알았어?
This wasn't his intention, but there was nothing he could do. Han Tail knew happiness was just within reach, but he had messed it all up. After Ju Hoyoung left, Han Tail was already extremely agitated when some soldiers came in, making an awful racket. Han Tail really wanted to vent his frustration. Since he started the fight, he was sentenced to 3 years for it. Due to Han Tail's special medical condition, he was released 3 months early. After all, they couldn't let him die in prison. When Ju Hoyoung saw Han Tail again, she felt no surprise, only hatred for this man.
나한테 이러는 거 미안하지도 않아? 난 네가 죽어버렸으면 좋겠어.
Just as Han Tail was about to wash up at home, he suddenly felt unwell and started bleeding heavily from his nose. Han Tail understood he didn't have much time left. That was why he had been released early. With great difficulty, he finally found his former boss, hoping to get the stolen money back. How was that possible? The boss gave Han Tail a severe beating and told him never to come back.
그게 내 대가리 사진인데 그 하얀 게 고름이란다. 고름. 빵에서 죽으려고 그랬는데 그것도 안 된다더라. 내가 어떻게 나왔겠냐. 미련 없다. 친구야, 내 진짜 마지막 부탁이다. 나 너 절대 원망 안 해. 그러니까 그냥 그 돈만 돌려줘. 어?
After getting the money back, Han Tail went to find Ju Hoyoung immediately. Seeing so much money, Ju Hoyoung thought he was still hopeless, returning to his old ways right after getting out. She could never accept this kind of money and asked Han Tail never to appear before her again.
나한테 하루하루가 어떤 건지 아냐? 호정아, 너 이거 가지고 가야 돼, 제발.
Right then, his illness flared up again. Feeling as if he might collapse any second, he held Ju Hoyoung tightly.
잠깐만. 잠깐만.
Han Tail had fulfilled one final wish. After returning, he spent some good time with his elderly father. He had never talked much with the old man or come home often. It had always been his older brother striving to care for the family. It seemed he would have to rely on his brother from now on. On the anniversary of Ju Hoyoung's father's passing, Han Tail came uninvited. After paying his respects, he told Ju Hoyoung he was leaving this place for good and that this was his final visit to see her. Ju Hoyoung didn't understand what he meant. She just wished he would leave quickly. As Han Tail got up to leave, he saw that old contract. Han Tail understood in his heart that even though Ju Hoyoung said she hated him, she had never really let go of him in her heart. It was just a pity that he was never determined enough. A few days later, Han Tail boarded a bus, planning to leave this place and let himself fade away. Right at that moment, he saw Ju Ho-young getting to know another man. At first, he felt uneasy about it, but then he saw that Ju Ho-young and that man were getting along very well, and a long-lost smile appeared on her face. Han Tae-il also smiled along, though his smile was both painful and happy. Just as Han Tae-il was leaving, Ju Ho-young seemed to sense something, and before Han Tae-il had taken more than a few steps, his illness struck him once again. This time, Han Tae-il no longer had the will to fight against his illness, and he collapsed on the ground, losing consciousness. When Han Tae-il woke up, he found himself lying in a hospital bed. He was about to pay to complete the discharge procedures, but was told that someone had already paid for him. Han Tae-il looked at the signature on the form and saw that the guardian was listed as Ju Ho-young. It turned out that Ju Ho-young had sensed Han Tae-il's presence at that time, so she saw him being carried into the ambulance. She then learned from the police about Han Tae-il's illness. Now she finally understood why this man had said such hurtful things back then. After having a few drinks at their old spot, Han Tae-il decided to leave the city for good. But unexpectedly, just like before, Ju Ho-young had already come looking for him there. Seeing Ju Ho-young's eyes redden, Han Tae-il realized she already knew at this moment. Han Tae-il could no longer hold back, and all the tears he had stored up over so many years instantly fell. They did not embrace, nor did they choose to move closer to each other. They did not pretend to be strong, but only looked at each other from a distance, crying loudly and bitterly like wronged children. Han Tae-il actively received treatment at the hospital. He was not afraid of anything, because Ju Ho-young was by his side. Chemotherapy was painful, and Ju Ho-young would also share in that pain. He did not want Ju Ho-young to worry, so he forced a smile and made a gesture. His playful act made the teary-eyed Ju Ho-young laugh. But because Han Tae-il had already missed the optimal treatment window, his health deteriorated day by day. Still, these past few years were the happiest days he had ever lived. He also knew that he could not hold on any longer. He gently kissed Ju Ho-young's hair, as if to say, "My dear, I am leaving, you must live happily and well." He did not survive that long night, and passed away. After the funeral, the old father sat down beside Ju Ho-young and told her something that Han Tae-il had repeatedly instructed him to do.
나 사실 장가 갈 뻔했었다. 예전에. 근데 내가 다 망쳤어. 씨발. 그런 애한테 어떻게 내 병수발까지 하라고 그래. 나 없어도 걔 만나면 잘해줘야 돼, 아버지. 걔가 아버지가 없어. 그니까 아버지가 아버지 좀 해줘. 아버지 아들이 진짜 사랑하는 여자야. 내 말 알아들어?
The old father actually suffered from intermittent dementia, but he remembered his son's request and would go to pick up Ju Ho-young at exactly the time she finished work every day, safely seeing her home. In truth, he had already forgotten who his own son was, yet quietly carried out his son's unfinished wish. Don't people always say that time is the best medicine? But memories of love do not fade with the passage of time. Perhaps we are all the same, each carrying in our hearts someone we can never forget. Maybe we are also like Han Tae-il in the movie, drifting freely and living a lonely life for a long time, not knowing what love is. Then one day, we meet someone who makes us fall in love at first sight, suddenly understanding what love is. We start caring about what they think, longing to become better for them, and dreaming of a beautiful future together. Love is real, enduring, and the sweetest yet bitterest thing we know.